My name is Raymond Garchevsky, and I am living Christ, and I need your help. You see, we're entering a crisis in our world. We're having a collapse of the financial system, the economy in this country and others throughout the world, in an effort to break down the civilization that we know and enter into a new world order, a satanically ruled new world order. You see, we have been under the thrall of satanic mind control by Satanists since the beginning of the first civilization. They have been the people who have been under control of all of the civilizations that we have come to know, the power structure, the countries with their armies, their religions, and their superstitions. They have been the masters over the vast majority of people on this earth and responsible for the death of millions and millions of people because of their activities. They are the people who rule your mind. Oh, they employ beautiful women, handsome men who are talking heads in the media, who personify the best of the positive imagery that can be made in order to be inviting and seductive in their news. But what is the news that they are spreading? Well, it is the cause of your image of what world you are living in, and you identify with that. That's how your minds are controlled. You know nothing about what's going on in the Middle East, for example, except for the news. See, and then you make your opinions. You make your mind up according to these opinions without any real first-hand understanding of what is going on. That's the nature of satanic mind control, and that is what controls your life. You see, there is much that you don't know about life. You see, in my signaline, I indicate that no man in the entire history of mankind, including Jesus Christ, has brought forth the message of how men and women are controlled through mind control, through satanic mind control. Nobody has said that but this living Christ. And there has been an agenda to ignore, to blacklist this simple man of truth. For that's all that a Christ is, you see. You have been lied to all of your lives. Your minds have been controlled by storytelling, which begins with fairy tales as children, and they never let go of you. They just change the stories, and they control your minds. You see, you are the funders of their satanic activity. Without your money, your wealth, gained in personal uh, endeavors, government and religion are parasitical institutions which live off your life's energy, your life's blood, the sweat of your brow, you see, to keep going. They are responsible for the redistribution of wealth, which cause the split of the rich and the poor. That's not how life should be led. No animal, no animal in life has to pay to live. Yet we, who were created in the likeness of God, with a superior intelligence, we are enslaved by our thoughts, and we work to pay for our living, like no other animal in the animal kingdom. Don't you find that interesting? Now, I pose a threat. No question about that. That's the reason that they do not acknowledge the existence of this living Christ, while their disinformation agents are working feverishly, privately, to destroy this man. They can't do it, you see. There is much to the reason why they can't do it that I cannot reveal at this point because there's just not enough time. I have on my websites arkenterprises.com and LisaRayEnterprises.com. Lisa spelled Leesa. The information, along with the videos, the YouTube videos, the real videos, the Vimeo videos, hundreds and hundreds of them with the message of truth. And you'll find that you will not find a single solitary contradiction in essence in the entire communication. You find that interesting? Well, you see, all that I'm asking for is an investigation into the tactics that have been used by the U.S. government's intelligence community, its disinformation agents, and the people, from the governor of Oregon down through the Attorney General, the Secretary of State's office, the Department of Justice, the court system of Josephine County, the District Attorney's Office of Josephine County, the sheriff, several sheriffs of Josephine County. No one will investigate the crimes that they have committed against this living Christ. I presently hold $161 million in liens placed against public officials for which they prosecuted me as a paper terrorist. They held me in 2 trials, 121 days, 127 days altogether. 121 were in solitary confinement. In that time, I went on 2 hunger strikes, amounting to 55 days. I was near death. When I went to court, in both trials, they tried the juristic person that they had created in all capital letters. That was not me. That was never me. That was the point of my defense. I challenged them to prove that they had jurisdiction over this living man because I knew, as a Christ, as a simple man of truth, that no fictional court, the creation of living men and women's minds, which is government, religion, banking, and corporate structures, all of those are fictions, and yet they have such power over the living mind of men and women that they have enslaved them. I'm here to break that link, you see, and I'm standing alone. I have no organization. I have the truth, and I stand in it. Now, on these two trials, they convicted the juristic person that they have created through birth certification. And as I say, it wasn't me. So when it came time for sentencing, during elocution, I refused to accept their offer of sentencing because they had not proved that they had jurisdiction over this living man. So I stood beyond their reach because they're fictions. They're not real. They're dead. And yet they wield power over living men such as myself and you. Now that's the hell that we all live in. We all know well. And you all occupy your place in that hell, both positive and negative. Those of you who have some power, you have the money, you have the comfort of having wealth to sustain you at the expense of the poor who are struggling to eke out a living every day. That's unfair. That's not the way life should be lived. And I'm here to change all that. But you see, those who control the venues of communication, such as the media, the news media, the talk shows, they all have a vested interest in making money, gaining power. You see, even the poor me talk show hosts on some networks who ask for money, who plead for money, who claim to shut down the doors of their network if money was not forthcoming. You see, because you can handle the truth. That's their motto. But what is it that they're telling you? What is it that they're actually accomplishing? They're riling you up in order to fight, in order to resist evil, in order to continue the efforts of wars that kill millions and millions of people and send our kids clear across the world in army installations, which cost millions and millions of dollars. Your dollars, your wealth, that is extracted from you involuntarily, or you are threatened with imprisonment or death. Now, how can they do that? First of all, they have relegated you into being a person, a dead fictional entity, because they themselves are a fictional entity, born of the mindset of living men and women like you and I, you see. A fiction, a creation, has no power over its creator. We are the creator of governments, religions, banking, corporate structures. We are the creators. They are the managers that parasitically extract our money, our wealth, and make you poor and give it to others who are not worthy, who will not work for themselves, but who will live off your money. Now, there's going to be a big shakeout in our economy. It's going to fall. It has to. It has been milked too long by the Satanists who run it. Oh, they hide behind words and concepts and ideas, and that's gotten them through since the beginning of time. You see, it's all going to come to an end. I, this living Christ, am representative of that which is a second coming of Christ consciousness. There have been many Christs. A Christ is merely a simple man of truth who lives truth who speaks truth, who is truth. He is one with truth, holistic. He operates from the combination, the balance of his subconscious mind, which is the mind of creation, the mind of God, and the conscious intellect, which is the mind of Satan. It's dualistic in nature, divisive, opposing, and is the reason for all of the pain and suffering and confusion that we experience in this, what is called a civilized world. It's hell. Hell, plain and simple. You wonder why it is such hell, and you wonder why you can't get out of it. The answer is very simple. Your minds are being controlled into this dualistic realm of division and conflict and confusion. That's why you can't get out of it, no matter how you try. You're stuck with your training, your educational training, for 12 years, from elementary school to high school, and then beyond that to postgraduate, to college and university and postgraduate work. You see, they've screwed with your minds. They have made you into fragmented individuals who are very clear in dealing with technical, mechanical problem solving and invention. But they have stripped you of your awareness, your divine awareness that is only expressed and experienced in the subconscious mind, the mind of God. So you are the creators of your life. You are the God of your own life. You make your life what it is. And you're responsible for it. Yet you seek to lay blame to others in a dualistic fashion, instead of taking responsibility for the life that you have created for yourself. You see, life is nothing more than energy. Truth. Truth is holistic energy. Lies, deception, fantasies are fragmented truths that are only experienced in the conscious intellect of mankind, of educated mankind. Now, how did people, living men and women, throughout the ages, function, you see, without the modern day conveniences that are found in the inventions created by the conscious intellect? They have lived in their subconscious mind, and they were primitive in the use of their satanic mind. They were not unintelligent. They were just not functioning with all of the mechanisms that are being used now in modern day society. You see. Now, what's going to happen with the collapse of this civilization, starting out with the U.S. government, it's spreading out to Europe and other parts of the world? Because it's going to hit everyone. Everyone. Because the satanic New World Order is nothing more than the old world order with a new name. But they're satanic, and they still maintain their control over the intellect. That's how they control you. That's how you have imagined a fantasy world. You don't know what's going on in the Middle East. You only get the information that is fed you through suggestion, hypnotic suggestion, by mind controlling news media. They create the world image in your mind, and you merely react. In fear, most of all. You see, without fear, you won't let loose of your money, your wealth, your hard-earned wealth, which is redistributed and kept by the managers, the bankers, those who play both sides of the fence in war, who support both sides, which results in millions of deaths. That's what's going on, and it's time that you wake up. I'm here to do it, but I need to be able to be heard. That's why I'm doing these videos, and I am being shut down, and the counters are being manipulated. I'm down to about 3 video observations a day. That's it, worldwide. And I'm using, at the present time, I'm using Vimeo, BitChute, and Real Audio. You see, I no longer use YouTube anymore. They won't let me create any more videos. But they have hundreds of my videos that they have allowed to remain. And they've allowed that to remain to see what's happening. You see, if I'm destroyed, they'll destroy that information. If I pick up your interest in you understanding how you are being manipulated and you begin to investigate this living Christ, that's all I'm asking for. An investigation. An FBI investigation. I started out in 1997, and they simply refused to investigate what's going on between the agents of the government and myself. That has continued on with the liens that I placed against high-level policymakers of Oregon. Police, attorneys, elected officials. No one will answer the questions of jurisdiction, and that is what accounts for this honor. That amounts to $160 million in liens and damages for the activities brought about by agents and the principals that hire them. A lot of money. I'm asking for an investigation. First of all, to prove that I am alive. Right now, today, this moment, speaking to you. Where they declare that I am dead. I am an imposter. That's how far their disinformation, slander and libel, and conspiracy to destroy this living man has gone. A simple investigation would disprove that fact that I am dead. And the whole ball of wax would just melt. The walls of deception would come tumbling down. And then you will see what you are paying, you are employing, where your money is going to. You will understand how you have been defrauded, and you will understand why your freedoms are denied you, as they regard you as slaves. Now, I have sent to President Trump, the President of the United States Corporation, which is not a true government. It's a de facto government based in the manipulation of words, which is all satanic. It's all illusory. It has no basis in truth. You see, you don't even understand that that's the life that you're living. It has no basis in truth. You're living in an illusion, a fantasy world. And anything is possible, and you just believe, believe, believe. You don't look deep enough to find out whether it's true or not, and therefore you succumb to the power of words manipulated by men, by satanically minded men. Your leaders. It's the blind leading the blind. You are living, breathing, flesh and blood, sentient natural men and women. You are the creators of your world. Start acting like it. You see, I stand alone. I have no organization. I have no following. I only have those who are pure of heart and understanding of truth, who have an interest in what I say. And as I say, it amounts to about 3 videos a day worldwide. What's wrong with that picture? You understand? Your life, the life that you lead, is at the mercy of these kinds of fantasies, and you seem to think that that's normal. It's time to put these people in jail, in prison, who brought you to war, who've spent your money away without regard for you. Well, you don't know where your next meal is coming from, or you're homeless. You see, if you have a job, they're extracting that money directly from your employer. What I'm saying to you is redo your agreement with your lawyer on your W-4 forms, your withholding forms. Get an honest day's work, pay for an honest day's work, and then you spend your money according to what you want to support in making your life a little better for yourself and your loved ones. That's the way to live. See, when they have the money directly spent to them taken out of your wages, you're a slave. There's no easy way to put that. You're a slave. Involuntarily. Or, you see, most of you have volunteered to be a slave with your citizenship. You see, I have rescinded my 14th Amendment citizenship. I don't belong to the corporate government that you all belong to. That makes me a sovereign. It's a dirty word in their lexicon. Sovereign, independent at one. I'm also the one who holds the lien over the debtor, you see. I am not the government's slave. The government is my servant, and they have no jurisdiction over me. The courts of Oregon have proven that. But it doesn't seem to move you folks at all. I've been talking about that for more than a decade now. And nothing has changed. You're still content to giving away your money so that it may be spent in ways that you don't approve of. That's not the way government, true government, who are the servants of the living, breathing, flesh and blood people was meant to be. That's what I need from you. Put some pressure on President Trump to order an investigation, an FBI investigation. You see, the very disinformation agents have made a mockery of our justice system. They brag of their immunity from prosecution. They make light, of any kind of responsibility for what they do. Oh, you know what they do. You see it every day on your computer screen. You can do something about that. Send a letter or a phone call to President Trump or his representatives and ask that an FBI investigation be launched into the decades-long attack upon this living Christ from the federal government. And also, since 2002, the prosecution, the persecution of this living Christ on a high beam violation that escalated into a paper terrorist, because I tried to hold my public officials accountable for the criminal action. Oh, you've heard of the Bundys. You see, they had a lot of support. They had a lot of coverage. No one ever heard of this living Christ's predicament. I stood alone, except for my wife and a couple of close friends. That's about it. But you see, they were no match for the press, for the government, for the judges, for the cops, who felt that they were immune from being held responsible for what they did. They were wrong. This single man had called their bluff, and they folded. They cut me loose from a 40-year term, threatened term. They set me loose because I refused. I refused to accept their sentence. That's how they do it. They do it all by contract, you see, but you don't know that. When you go before sentencing, the judge metes out the sentence and you accept it. You don't oppose it. You don't challenge it to find out what authority he has to convict you, to imprison you. You do it by silent consent. Let's see. That's the product of your indoctrination. That's how limited your thinking is. You don't realize that you are superior to the government when you stand as a living man or a woman before a fictional court. You must accept their superiority in order for you to become a ward of the state. You see, you must accept their superiority. But they are not superior, but they have made you doubt yourself. That's time to end. Now, what happens if we boycott? Now, boycott is the peaceful revolution. Not a single solitary gunshot is required to topple an organization that is based on deception and fraud. Merely take the money away from them that supports them, and it'll fold. It'll fold. It cannot stand. That's all you have to do is boycott, 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 hold them responsible, fire the incumbents of the Senate and the House. Those incumbents who brought you to war, who have financed every financial boondog that came along, because it wasn't their money. It's all an illusion. They just print more money. They lessen the value of the money. But you see, your production, your wealth, your work ethic remains the same. You begin to get paid less because of inflation for your work. They never left you off the treadmill until you retire, if you do in fact retire, you see. There you have it. I ask you to seriously consider what I have said. What happens if we pull the plug? Will we go into the dark ages without government, without religion, without banking? All of those institutions will, in fact, dissolve. And we will be left on our own devices. But who are we? We are the intelligence that rules this world, you see, and we will find a way. If we have to rebuild from scratch. I've given you more to think about than maybe perhaps you feel is unnecessary. But it's time that you woke up and you understood how you have been manipulated, how you have been enslaved. It's time for you to do something about it. Oh, it takes courage for you to act, because I'm asking for you to act as individuals, not an organization, because all organizations become satanically driven. And you will find that what I'm saying to you about that is true. That's how you find yourself in the present predicament you are now in. Give it some thought, but don't think endlessly and argue endlessly over it. It's time to act. A simple act. Call or mail President Trump and suggest that he order an investigation, a legitimate FBI investigation where all eyes are on them, so that no hanky-panky, such as going on with the Clinton situation, is repeated. It's time for that kind of nonsense to end, for actions to be quick and definite, certain. That's how government should operate. But it will not operate if you do not hold them accountable. This one man has held that government accountable, and it stopped them cold. What would happen if a nation acted like this one single man without any support whatsoever and never spent a dime? Never spent for a lawyer, no fines, no court costs, no nothing. I went to 2 trials, and I never spent a dime, except for my own experience, my own energy. And I toppled the Oregon court system. But they don't want you to know that. But I'm telling you, look at the records, look at the information. Watch my videos, and you will understand the kind of spirit that is required in order to change this world. I am merely a living Christ. who will not take no for an answer by anyone. And I am being opposed by just about everyone. And those who do not oppose me now remain silent. Those who supported me in the beginning have lost their voice. They don't want to appear to be counter to the status quo. What a shame. They had sold a part of themselves in the process for their anonymity. Time for all that to change. Let's take charge of our country. Let's take charge of our world. Let's bring back equality by depriving the institutions that parasitically thrive off our life's energy in the form of money while they steal us blind. Is that what you want for your children and your children's children? Your posterity? I think not. Here's a chance to do something different. Thank you for your attention.